Sırada Affinity Danışma Kurulu üyesi ve eski DowJones CFO'su Sedgley var. Stage is yours, Anna.
Great, thank you very much for your introduction. All right, here we go. So it's an honor to be here in Turkey and to be given the opportunity to address such an illustrious group of business leaders. The last time that I visited was in 1994 as an Australian backpacker, and a lot has changed for both of us since then. My name is Sedgley, and I'm head of Customer Finance and Advisory Board at Affinity. I'm here today to share with you the story of why I joined Affinity and to explain the magic in what we do. I hope to give you both insight into the reasons behind what was a significant career change for me personally, and also give you a simple overview of how Affinity's artificial intelligence solution creates value for our partners. Firstly, a couple of minutes history on my media background. I spent the last 2 decades of my career at News Corporation, most recently as Chief Operating Officer and Chief Financial Officer at DowJones in New York, and before that, I was in the finance team at Sky in London. I'm a huge consumer of news, sport, and entertainment, and I loved being behind the scenes, inside companies that create content. DowJones is best known as being the publisher of the Wall Street Journal, and it was a privilege to be colleagues with the incredible journalists and editorial team that work to bring us scoops and in-depth reporting on global business and economic events. Today, the journal continued its wonderful series of articles on WeWork and the collapse of its IPO recently in New York. Today, that we learned that the WeWork cash reserves are only going to last another 6 months. And this is truly a fascinating saga that has me gripped. In this era of fake news, where you get your news from has never been more important. I truly believe that the Wall Street Journal is the #1 essential read for all business people globally. I hope that you too are regular readers. So now, a bit about why I joined Affinity. I decided to leave News Corporation at the end of last year because it felt like a moment to make a big change personally. I had a deep curiosity to be part of something operating at the very frontiers of business. I'd spent the best part of my career inside the same mature organization, and I knew that my next move would be to a young, ambitious technology company experiencing rapid growth. I made it my mission to find a company where the opportunity existed for me to use my knowledge and experience to create value in the new economy. While researching my options, I was introduced to Affinity by one of my former colleagues, now the Chief Data Officer at Sky, also a satisfied client. She insisted that I meet with Zia Chishti, founder of Affinity, and when I did, I learned that their mission aligned with mine. So, what is Affinity? Affinity Enterprise Behavioral Pairing uses artificial intelligence to identify subtle and valuable patterns of human interaction in order to pair individuals on the basis of behavior, leading to more successful interactions and measurable increases in enterprise profitability. Affinity operates throughout the world, and it has measurably driven billions of dollars to incremental value to its clients. And the clients include AT&T, Comcast, Santander, and Yapi Credit. The best use today for Affinity can be found inside contact centers or call centers. Without Affinity, pairings between individuals and businesses are allocated on the basis of first in, first out, or FIFO. In this process, when an agent or customer service individual becomes free, they would simply get allocated to the individual who is next in line in the respective queue. Now, this FIFO process delivers suboptimal pairings and outcomes for both the business and the customer. And ultimately, that can cost large enterprises hundreds of millions of dollars in value each year. Affinity's unique AI solution enables global enterprises to pair callers and agents out of sequence on the basis of subtle behavioral characteristics. Pairing in this way transforms the quality of interactions. In very simple terms, the artificial intelligence layer is able to make sense of vast amounts of data that is known about the caller and the agent in a fraction of a second. It then pattern matches to ensure the interaction is best for both parties. Adopting Affinity Enterprise Behavioral Pairing typically delivers a precisely measurable impact of hundreds of millions of dollars to enterprise, shareholders, and customers. And we know that because we cycle the AI to work on and off, and we are able to track the change in value between outcomes with affinity on and outcomes with affinity off. As I mentioned today, the primary use case for the technology is in call centers with voice and chat. However, you can imagine the roadmap that we have for taking this pattern matching further to other instances where one-on-one behavioral interactions with humans and/or bots can be optimized. As an experienced C-suite member, I know firsthand the constant pressure to show consecutive growth each quarter. With talk of recession, we're going to need to effectively deploy every tool at our disposal to maximize opportunity while battling constant disruption and headwinds. From a business model perspective, the majority of my experience has been in maximizing customer lifetime value. I am conditioned to be obsessed with understanding the customer and meeting their needs. Now, understanding the customer is something that I think we've all made great strides on. We speak with our customers, we survey them, we look at metrics like Net Promoter Score. In the weeds of our organizations, we have teams of people who map and optimize customer journeys and outcomes. And many of us also have B2B sales forces who live and breathe client relationships. Personalizing customer experience, however, is something that I think businesses are only just starting to tackle with anything approaching expertise. I was part of the team that implemented segmentation in the marketing and customer service organizations at Sky 15 or so years ago. We put millions of subscribers into what was probably only around 10 buckets, and we thought that that was enough at the time to give us competitive advantage. Today, as customers come to expect personal curation in every aspect of their lives, the bar has been raised for every industry, and we are being asked to deliver an experience that is for a segment of one. This is where the magic of artificial intelligence comes in, because it enables individual personalization at a scale that was previously impossible. The Affinity technology looks at the unique characteristics of the individuals involved before selecting the optimal pairing. Your customer speaks to precisely the best employee suited to handle their inquiry after pattern matching hundreds of data points in less than a second. Similarly, while I was at DowJones, I had responsibility for technology, which meant that I had custody over a huge pile of data, big data to use the terminology used by the previous speaker. Now, when you're in charge of data, the reality means 1, sleepless nights worrying about breaches and cybersecurity, and 2, the reality of trying to extract meaningful insight and action out of legacy systems that don't knit together as well as a chief executive may want them to. By embracing the Affinity solution, we're able to immediately make use of the wealth of CRM data that our clients have without ever porting the data and that information out of the customer's systems. Affinity can be integrated into the existing telephony infrastructure at our clients, and critically, it can be done so with no disruption to operational service levels. The Affinity pricing model is constructed with true partnership in mind. We operate on a pay-for-performance model. We can precisely and transparently measure the value we have created for our clients, and we charge a percentage of that. There is no upfront investment required on behalf of our clients. Very simply, the Affinity proposition is that we will seamlessly integrate artificial intelligence into your business without disrupting your operation, and then you pay us only a portion of the incremental value that we generate. Short of requiring an internal commitment to work together, there really is only upside on offer for our clients. Now, when I was dealing with vendors as COO and CFO in my old job, I cannot recall another vendor offering an easier proposition to say yes to. So what can we learn from AI? Finally, I just wanted to share with you what I'm learning personally, playing an integral role in such a cutting-edge organization. I'm learning rapidly from incredibly intelligent people. Affinity is full of PhDs whose logical and mathematical thought processes are a wonder to see in action. The company has more than 150 granted patents and another 200 patents pending that secure our IP, and we have native integration with the leading telephony providers such as Avaya. Affinity has an exceptional advisory board, chaired by David Cameron, the former Prime Minister of Great Britain, and featuring luminaries such as Herbert Hensler, the former Chairman of McKinsey for Europe, and Laura Tyson, Professor of the Graduate Program at UC Berkeley, who also worked under the Clinton administration on various economic councils. There is an extraordinary pool of talent that Affinity has harnessed. Next, I'm loving being at a company that is a late-stage startup, so one that is pre-IPO. Our revenue has grown at a CAGR of 100% in the last 5 years, and I'm working with 900 colleagues who are all facing in the same direction, and that is towards the mission of using technology to create value for our clients. Now, 10 years ago, I don't think any of us could have imagined how much we rely on our cell phone to do our job. And I suspect in 10 years' time, we'll all be sitting here again, marveling at how we feel the same way about artificial intelligence. As I mentioned at the beginning, I made it my personal mission to find a company where an opportunity existed for me to use my knowledge and experience in a leading enterprise in the new economy, and I found that at Affinity. I hope that you all walk away from this conference with an action to be more curious about artificial intelligence and how it might help your business. I encourage you to embrace becoming a part of it at this early stage and strongly encourage you to take action now. Thank you very much for your time and attention. Thank you.